your Listen Local station, right here on the northern beaches of Sydney. You can find us on your radio dial at 88.7 and 90.3 FM. Can't get to a radio? No worries. You can always stream our program live from anywhere in the world at rnb.org.au. And for listening on your own schedule, our podcasts are available globally at rnbpodcast.com.au. So be sure to follow and subscribe so you don't miss any episodes. Now, here is our latest podcast.
Hello again, listeners to Radio Northern Beaches, 88.7 and 90.3 FM, and streaming live on our website, www.rnb.org.au. I'm Michael Lester. Our program is Oz Music. We've got on the Northern Beaches here a festival called Singing Up Country that's this year going to be in its 11th year here on the beaches. And it's a great celebration and showcase of Indigenous music. And in particular, it's a cultural showcase, showcasing their culture and language through music. And connecting, I think, as they say, country to reconciliation. It's a music festival, features bands and cultural activities, and it's a great opportunity to go along and hear some great music and mix with some great people. I'm delighted to welcome to our program today Yaegl singer, songwriter and band frontman, professional musician Michael Birk, who lives on the Northern Beaches, but as I say, proud Yaegl man who's made a career professionally over 20 years or so, singing and songwriting, particularly expression of his culture through his music, his respect for land and culture and his ancestors. So delighted to welcome you to Radio Northern Beaches Oz Music. Michael, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Michael. Yeah, thank you. We've got the same name, sorry. It's a bit weird.
Good on you, mate. You started, I believe, you host this festival. This is its 11th year, Singing Up Country. I think you must have started then about 2014. What brought you into organising an event like that and sustaining it for so long?
Part of this workshop with the Conservatorium of Music, with there's a fellow there that works there. His name is Kevin Hunt. And this workshop was called Our Music. And basically I met a lot of contemporaries during this workshop. And we sort of saw how, I observed how that program was done, that we had to rehearse and be a part of this final performance. And I just sort of pulled it apart, saw how it was done. And we had all this momentum and support from the local community to bring something like that over to the Northern Beaches with, a First Nations music showcase. Some of these people, one was my mum. My mum's a lovely grey-haired Aboriginal woman that's very well known in community, but also, her name is Lois Birk. But also there was another person that was part of the momentum at the start, was another lady named Anne Lanyon, who was quite familiar with putting on events up at St Anthony in the Fields Church. And so it was sort of that we had this momentum, but then it was the right time and place with having Anne at the St Anthony in the Fields Church and the social justice group part of that the parish and stuff. They wanted something to bring in new people to the church for, with respect to Aboriginal community and getting together and talking about reconciliation. And it was just like this momentum. And, as a group, there was a few, at the first initial Singing Up Country, we had a sort of a variety band that we workshopped with Kevin Hunt from the Conservatorium, because he was very supportive from day one. Yeah, we workshopped our stuff, and as well as we got some more experienced acts to come along and play along with us. There's this dear gentleman, Uncle Johnny Nicole. His real name is George, but his stage name is Johnny Nicole, and he supported us from the start as well. He's a very renowned jazz singer that's travelled the world with his jazz, and he had been in the industry for over 60 years. And Yeah, so there was all this support from many different directions that made it just a very memorable event from the start. And that momentum was just the drive for keeping it going. And we seem to blow away ourselves as well as everyone in the crowd every year onwards. And so, yeah, that momentum was the force that kept it going.
Well, it's great to have so much community engagement and support and participation, because it's very much a community-based and a cultural experience, really. It's not only is it three bands, I believe, on this occasion, including your band. You're the front man of a band called, I believe, Recognizers, and we might talk about that. But you've also got a couple of other bands, I believe, like Stiff Gins and Black Turtles. But it's very much a cultural event, isn't it? Because it's also, as you say, connecting the spirit of country with reconciliation. You've got a bush tour involving the land care and rehabilitation. You've got smoking ceremonies. You've got food being prepared by people for half time. It's a broad cultural event and happening, isn't it?
Yeah. It's sort of like a really good chance to just talk about reconciliation in a culturally safe environment. And what better thing to do with a warm cup of soup whilst you're waiting for the next band to get ready and stuff. Like it's a lot of people walk away with much more than just a regular concert.
What about yourself and how you found your way into music? As I say, I believe you've been almost professional in this business, have you, for nearly 20 years? And you've mentioned the conservatorium. What sort of background did you have in music, and how did you bring that background into music together with your culture and your language?
I started basically getting paid for performances around about the age 19, and I'm 39 this year. So, it has been a bit of a 20-year career. Yeah, I studied at TAFE to sort of learn a bit more about the songwriting tools and stuff to work with. And whilst I was studying at TAFE, I was also doing other courses through TAFE, but learning the Yaegl language. So we were connecting up here at the local Brookville Vale TAFE on the video conference up on the wall to the TAFE up at McLean up in Yaegl country. So that was really cool because there was, many different generations all in the one classroom. There was mums with bubs, there was, elders and younger people as well. And we were just there having fun, singing songs and, having fun learning the language. It was just such a great environment. Luckily with me, I've got quite a good memory for the language. Yeah, it seems to be a gift of mine is good memory for things like language, or even when I hear Dreamtime stories, I've got a good memory for them as well. A lot of it, it's just me sort of finding or falling into place with what I really wanted to do in life, and sharing my culture through my music. I think that's my strongest medium to be who I am and express myself.
Language is obviously important aspect of what you do. You've got your mob's Yaegl language, which I believe might come from up in the lower Clarence area, but you're more broadly interested and involved. You use language in your songs and songwriting, I guess, but you've also been involved, have you, in trying to not revive, but increase awareness. There's so much diversity in the language, yet so much of it is being lost. You've been involved in trying to promote the rehabilitation of this language and its learning, have you?
Yeah. Well, I'm just jumping on the bandwagon. I think it's a collective movement, to revive our language. And it just, culture is attached to the language. You can't, when you're learning your own language, you are getting stronger with your culture. This is something that I've felt personally and shared with other people about, their journey and their, from other countries and their language. And yeah, that empowerment is it feels good. Yeah.
Yeah. Our guest here on Community Voices Radio Northern Beaches, our program's Oz Music. Our guest is Northern Beaches-based Yaegl singer, songwriter and band frontman Michael Birk, and we're talking about not only his life and career in music, promoting his cultural identity and awareness through language and music, but also the event that he's been hosting here so successfully on the Northern Beaches, the 11th year, the Singing Up Country Festival, showcase for Indigenous music. Yeah, Michael, you've obviously got a real commitment and passion for reform and reconciliation and justice for Indigenous peoples, obviously. One of your songs, I believe it's a recently or forthcoming single that you've put together, is called Rise Up. What's the story of this particular song?
Yeah, Rise Up. It's a good one. It was a collaboration with a lady that lives on the other side of the river from Maclean in a place called Tully Morgan, up there on the Clarence River. And Dr. Tracy Pateman. She's got a doctorate of letters or something like that in her research. She wrote these awesome words that were about my Auntie Lenore, who's my mum's older sister. And Auntie Lenore, she's she's a member of the Anglican Church. She's actually been made a canon in the Anglican Church up there. But we had the no vote come through, and in the recent referendum, and a lot of people were feeling like we needed to talk about this. And Auntie Lenore, she called a meeting just for her to speak to community. She expected only about 20 people to turn up, but over 250 people were there for her speech. And she just spoke to community, and gently, with her words, she said, to gently rise up. And these words were developed by me further from the collaboration. I developed them further into the song sort of making sense as a song. Yeah, it was very sort of brisk that I had an opportunity, because my one of my producers has a studio. He lives in Coffs Harbour, so I was up there in Yaegl country, but I travelled down to Coffs Harbour to record this song with my friend or my producer Alex Zablosky, and it just sort of flowed. It was really good.
It's a remarkable song in many ways, not least lyrically. I believe that was being shortlisted in the top 30 for the National Australian Songwriters competition. The words are very, very powerful along the lines of striving for justice. But, I think it must have been, it's clearly been written post the failure of the voice referendum, because I think some of the lines like, because the people in this nation said they didn't know enough. So teach our history, seek the truth, no more lies and misinformation. So this is obviously a strong reaction that you and your fellow people had to the voice referendum failing.
Yeah. It was just, in my lifetime, I've never sort of experienced the amount of discrimination for my people that was around prior to the referendum. Just sort of, I think, you're really seeing people's true colours, especially with these, the access to social media. It's like people are saying things with a bit of a mask in front of them, and are a bit, happy to say these discriminative things. It still is, a very, sorry subject for us, in the fact that, we are still struggling to really get that voice to the decision makers in the country.
Well, it really does beg the question of where to next in the light of that huge disappointment and letdown, which you and your people and others in the community generally across the country had been working towards for a long time through the Uluru Statement. I believe an earlier song of yours who is called Harmonizing, isn't it? And in that song,
Yep.
you speak of the sick, and this was pre the voice referendum, I guess, where you speak of sick of the ignorance, sick of the shame, and the polarities, and then you call, let's have a voice for our people. But really, of course, all that fell through, didn't it? But this song, Harmonizing, you put that together, didn't you, before? And it represented the hopes and aspirations of your people.
Yeah, yeah. It was quite a while prior that it was written, and also it took a little while for it to get recorded. But yeah, that was from my 2020 release. Wanji. Wanji is our name for the dingo, Wanji, and it's one of the main totems for the Yaegl people. Yeah, and there's a lovely picture of the Wanji that was designed by my dear sister Jess. She's no longer with us. She sadly had cancer, but she was a beautiful artist, and yeah, she designed that cover.
Yeah, well, that's a very powerful and moving song, but clearly things have moved on and not necessarily for the better, still posing great challenges for us. In terms of your music and your music career, you mentioned your album from which that came. I guess that was your first one, Wanji, was it? Have you made any other recordings and albums since then?
I haven't really released anything as of yet. I'm going to release this single, Rise Up. I've got some other things recorded that are on the back burner for now, but just recently I received the news that I picked up a grant to record my next album, which is the project that we're going to focus on, me and the Recognizers, and that's going to be an album with 8 songs in the Yaegl language, and we'll be recording that up in Coffs Harbour. And yeah, we picked up this grant. It was a New South Wales grant. I can't remember the name of it yet at the moment, but yeah, we were very lucky to get that news just last Monday.
Well, that's wonderful to hear, and we can really look forward to that. But presumably you're performing around the place. You perform both solo, I take it, around the place, but also with a band. Your band is turning up, is it, at this event? Is that right?
There are a few more bands. Yes, there's my band, Michael Birk and the Recognizers. There's Black Turtles. There's Stiff Gins. There's also a lady named Nadina Dixon. She's got some lovely, powerful music, and she's got background with the Sydney Aboriginal descendants, and she also incorporates a bit of the local language in her performances. And then we've also got a local from Avalon. She performs under the name Magpie. She's a dear friend of mine from a very long time ago. Yeah, Magpie, and her real name is Corey Kirk, and yeah, she's a local at Avalon. And she sort of has a bit of folk in her sounds, as well as a bit of sort of reggae chops mixed in with it as well. And she performs with her. She used to have a larger band, but now it's just her and her mother, Kathy. And Kathy plays various instruments to accompany Magpie. Yeah.
Well, that's a great slate of very diverse performances and performers that you're put together for this event, the 11th annual Singing Up Country Festival and Cultural Event. Just in closing, to ask you about your band, the Recognizers. What sort of format and style do you work in with the band as distinct from the solo sort of work you do?
Well, I believe I have a lot more confidence when I've got my band with me. Yeah, it just
but you're
makes
still
me
the
feel,
front man, aren't you?
yeah. But I feel I like with accompaniment. Yeah, it just gives me a bit more oomph for when I'm playing the song, and also when I'm singing it. Also, it looks. I find when we do play as a band, we're always communicating with each other, and visually, that's part of watching live music, is, watching how the musicians communicate with each other as well. I think, I like that as well.
What about the instrumentation and rhythms with you in your band work? To what extent, if any, would you say it's characteristic of your culture and your Indigenous heritage?
The drummer, Patrick, my drummer, sometimes he's sort of, whilst we're doing things live, he's added some embellishments to his drumming. He's sometimes emulated the call of a kookaburra and stuff in our live setting. Just sort of adding things like that, make it really interesting live. There's a bassist and a drummer at the moment. We're trying to pick up some more members along the way, but we'll have to get that organised. We've got some other members in mind, but we'll see how we go with that. But the guys are tight. They're a really good band. My drummer Patrick, he's not only the drummer, he's also a bit of a recording producer as well. He also composes music for video games, so he's quite a professional person. But the thing is it's everyone's got to keep the roof over their head and the food on the table and stuff. So we just got to keep pushing to keep the momentum going. It's just.
Well, with all the with the bands that you've got there, like you mentioned, the Stiff Gins and the Black Turtles and the other performers, is there any sort of a moment or a cultural move at the moment among musicians playing Indigenous cultural music, or is it a continuation of what's been happening for quite a long while now, or is it characterised by diversity or solidarity? How would you describe what's happening in Aboriginal contemporary music?
I find, we're very close. Even if you don't know each other that well, you meet other contemporary Aboriginal musicians, and it's like we're a family already, a musical family, and that's how it's been with me organising Singing Up Country. Is we just we use each other's networks, but also there's that ongoing respect for each other that is it's just when we get together, it really does feel like we are a family.
Right. Well, thank you, Michael Birk, Yaegl singer, songwriter, musician and performer, for joining us on Oz Music. And listeners, do get along to the event that we've been discussing, that Michael's been hosting for 11 years on the beaches, Singing Up Country. You're going to be treated to a real showcase of Indigenous music and culture, and it's really a cultural event as much as a music event. Thanks very much for joining us on Radio Northern Beaches, Michael.
Thank you very much.
Australia, the lucky country. We've got meat pies. We've got the world's best beer. But most importantly, top of the list, we've got Radio Northern Beaches 88.7, 90.3. Now hitting the entire world on www.rnb.org.au.